Fox 29 News in HD is sponsored by X1 from Xfinity, changing the way you experience TV.
Tonight, new video shows a teenage fugitive right after he escaped. What he asked a stranger before running off.
The murder suspect evading capture for more than 34 hours now. Authorities warning the public he is dangerous.
A busy forecast with more dense fog making it difficult to see and heavy rain moving in overnight before temperatures rise for your Friday. The 10 o'clock news starts now.
But first, the latest on that search for a prisoner on the run with new video showing the teenage murder suspect moments after he escaped. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Sheba Russell.
I'm Jason Martinez. The manhunt for 17-year-old Shane Pryor is now entering its second night after he escaped yesterday about noon from the parking lot of Children's Hospital Philadelphia in University City. U.S. Marshals releasing new surveillance video showing Pryor asking a hospital receptionist to use a phone, which the receptionist denied.
Today, investigators say they found the vehicle believed to be used to pick up Pryor, and a man was questioned, but no charges have been filed. Still, the question tonight, Chris, is where is Pryor?
And who may be helping him?
That's right, guys. It has now been 34 hours since Shane Pryor has simply walked out of custody. U.S. Marshals Service and Philadelphia Police Homicide Unit, they are still on the manhunt tonight. I just got the latest update a few minutes ago. Investigators have been speaking with family, friends, and associates of Pryor's, including a possible accomplice. This video shared by the U.S. Marshals Service tonight shows 17-year-old murder suspect Shane Pryor in the lobby of a CHOP building just minutes after his escape around noon yesterday. He's been on the run ever since.
They should have never left his side, but they did. And that's a problem.
Retired FBI agent Raymond Carr has been on manhunts like this one. He thinks Pryor could be getting help. Police stopped the car Pryor may have used to escape in Germantown today. They're talking to that driver tonight.
There's some pre-planning. You just don't go and then all of a sudden you're running and you have nowhere to go. It's too darn cold out there with the weather and so forth. So I think there's some planning. Someone's helping him here. And he's scared as hell. I'll tell you that.
Pryor was awaiting trial for a 2020 Holmesburg shooting death of a 54-year-old woman. He was just 14 when he was charged. We spoke with security consultant and former state trooper Bill Latour, who says the teen may be getting desperate.
These things are going to start to come to fruition, which is, where am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? How do I get out of the elements? You know, other crimes may be committed to kind of meet those needs.
Pryor's mother and attorney are encouraging the teenager to turn himself in. A family source tells Fox 29 a pastor is on standby to help him surrender. As for law enforcement,
this search just will not stop, and it won't stop until he's taken back into custody. So, you know, along the way, he has an opportunity to commit more crimes to sustain himself, or he can turn himself in and just end this thing.
And Philadelphia police investigators are not only encouraging Pryor to surrender to police, they're also warning others that if they're out there helping him, they could also face charges. A $5,000 reward has now been issued for any information leading to his capture. Guys.
And Chris, just to be clear here, they're no longer thinking he's in that blue Ford pickup truck, right?
No, they do not. They're not even sure. There was another car, like I spoke about in Germantown. They're trying to figure out, talk to that driver, whether it was connected, whether or not he was in that car that got him out of University City.
All right, let's hope this ends soon. All right, Chris O'Connell, thank you very much.
And we are posting the latest on the search at fox29.com and on the Fox 29 News app. And we'll have live reports starting at 4 a.m. on Good Day Philadelphia.
Let's get a first check of your forecast. A foggy Thursday night. We didn't see any sun today. Looking out there in the Philly skyline, and you can see right there the clouds are hovering. The fog is rolling in. It's kind of been here for a little while now, Kathy. So what are we looking at tonight and in the morning?
Well, tonight we have dense fog, and we have a dense fog advisory in effect. Some areas worse than others. You can see there in Westchester, not that bad, but down the shore, we have poor visibility as well. You can see this is Wildwood, so hardly seeing Mariners Landing right now. Visibility less than a mile in Millville, Wildwood, Dover, Lancaster, and even in the Poconos, so that dense fog is expected to go on till about 1 o'clock this morning for the entire region, with the exception of central and southern Delaware and the Lehigh Valley and the Poconos. Dense fog because of warm air coming over a colder ground. But once the rain comes in, we are expecting the fog to dissipate, but we need enough rain to come into the Delaware Valley. So that is expected overnight tonight. So fog into the early morning hours, overnight showers, and temperatures tomorrow in the 40s and 50s. By the late morning, we're at 53 degrees. The rain will be ending. The low clouds will be hanging around. And if we get an increase in sunshine, those temperatures will be rising quickly. A huge range in temperature from north to south. Where we break out in that sunshine, temperatures will be in the upper 60s, maybe even close to 70. North of Philadelphia in the 40s and 50s, and a half weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up later in the broadcast. We'll see you then.
All right, Kath. Now with that misty rain out there and dense fog, it is not a night to be out if you can avoid it. This is a live look at the Ben Franklin Bridge. Really hard to see. Shawnette, definitely an evening to take it slow and use the low beams.
Yeah, all good advice, Sheba, because road and safety officials say that fog is actually the cause of numerous accidents. So you should use basic precautions when you're out on the road in this type of dense fog. But people we talked to tonight say that even though the fog is pretty heavy in some areas, it is far from the worst driving weather conditions. Driving north on 95 tonight, it wasn't the rain or any leftover snow from last week causing concern for drivers. What do you notice in the air tonight?
A lot of fog, mist, rain.
The first word out of Alexander Kiowski's mouth is what we're talking about. Fog blanketing the area tonight.
I worry about it, I'm not terrified of it, and I keep my low beams on so that it doesn't reflect back in my eyes, keep my wipers on, and drive a little slower.
This heavy fog captured on our weather and traffic cameras at the shore in Ocean City and Atlantic City. And take a look at Philly's skyline this morning, cloaked in dense fog. Kiowski says it's the same this evening when he drove from King of Prussia toward the city.
When I left home, which is about 19 miles from here, and it got a little heavier as I got closer to Philly.
Kevin Bird says he's conscious of it.
Kind of, sort of. Take your time.
Bird says while he takes precautions driving in fog, it's not his biggest worry.
Definitely snow. So snow, rain, then fog.
Okay, so of low concern.
Yeah, not too bad. It's not that bad. Yeah. I wouldn't compare it to like heavy downpour rain or heavy snow, but I mean definitely have its challenges though for sure.
All right, so back here live, we are driving right now on 76 eastbound, and just like the gentleman said in the story earlier, we were at Ridley Park. Coming closer towards the city, you do start to see that more dense fog. But again, road and safety officials, Jason and Sheba, say that make sure that you are using your low beams. Someone tonight actually said they were using their high beams, and I was like, that's not a good idea, because the high beams will give you that glare and make it even worse or harder to see.
Good reminder. It's tempting to put the high beams because you can't see anything, but that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
All right. Careful out there, Shawnette. Appreciate it. Developing tonight in Fairmount, a toddler's recovering after falling from a window. Police say that the 2-year-old fell from the 3rd floor window of a home on North 20th Street just before 5:30 tonight. Police rushed the boy and his mom to the hospital, where he's listed in stable condition.
2 owners of the iconic South Philly cheesesteak spot, Tony Luke, sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for tax fraud. A federal judge sentencing 57-year-old Nicholas Lucidanio and 84-year-old Anthony Lucidanio Sr. to 20 months in prison each. When a dispute over Tony Luke's franchising rights arose between the Lucidanios and another individual, the feds say they became concerned their tax fraud scheme would be revealed. From 2016 to from 2006 to 2016, the Justice Department says they hid more than $8 million in cash, causing their accountant to file false tax returns. The feds say they also committed employment tax fraud by paying employees off the books in cash. They say the Lucidanios also caused a loss of $1.3 million to the U.S. government. The 2 men pleaded guilty in May of 2022.
Police say a former employee lit a business on fire in Montgomery County after torching a shed behind a home. Investigators say 56-year-old Sean Gahagan lit 2 fires on December 29th in Upper Moreland. The first fire was set in a shed on Huntington Pike in the backyard of a home around 8:30. About 15 minutes later, police say a mechanic shop where he used to work was also set on fire on Davis Road. Gahagan, as you take a look at his mugshot there, has been arrested and charged with felony arson and related offenses. 2 teenagers are facing gun charges tonight in connection with a gun found inside a backpack. A 15-year-old student turning himself into Delaware State Police today. They say he gave the gun to the 17-year-old student who brought it to school last Wednesday. School resource officer Cape Henlopen High School in Lewis found the loaded firearm inside his backpack.
A road in Delaware County is shut down tonight due to concerns over a building that could be dangerous. Our Allie Reed has the story from Clifton Heights.
This building here along Baltimore Avenue has been condemned after the town's emergency management coordinator noticed the bricks starting to bow out on the side of this building. Now, officials say residents are top of mind as safety is #1 concern.
The last thing we would want is an individual get hurt or worse by a piece of falling debris in a case like this. So that's why we've cordoned off the street. We've closed off the parking. We've closed off the parking lot here at this entrance, and it's all about keeping the public safe.
This local business is now closed until further notice as officials discovered a bulge coming out of the side of the building. They say it could have been from an abundance of ice the day before.
Yesterday, while sitting in traffic, I took a look over and saw that there was some broken bricks, there was some brick debris on the ground, some cracks had opened up.
Immediately, borough officials recognized the seriousness of a potential fall zone, closing the area to drivers and pedestrians.
I'm glad that it's being addressed, and I'm hoping it gets fixed.
Nicholas DiDonato and many others are constantly in and out of the shopping center closest to Diamond Street. It's a busy road that locals use to get to a daycare center and a number of row homes. It's also a path for students to get to their bus stop.
You want to think about the kids more than anybody else.
A structural engineer will be called in to determine the integrity of the building. The owner tells FOX29 it's not the first time the building has experienced issues. He says back in 2017, just weeks after purchasing the building, he was required to put in star bolts. This time, crews will come up with a plan to rebuild the exterior wall.
We'll expedite permitting. We'll work with his engineers. We'll work with our engineers to be able to get him back in his business.
The building itself has some rich history in town, known originally as the Clifton Opera House back in the late 1890s. Officials say it'll take a couple of weeks to come up with a new design and potentially a few months to complete the project. We're in Clifton Heights. Allie Reed, Fox 29 News.
SEPTA postponing today's scheduled vote on the Bus Revolution project by 2 weeks. Philadelphia City Council member Catherine Gilmore Richardson tweeting the delay will allow council more time to talk about the proposed changes with the community. The Bus Revolution is the first ever redesign of the entire SEPTA bus network. SEPTA says the new network will increase the number of frequent routes by over 30% and increase the number of riders within a 10-minute walk by 64%.
Officers at a Lehigh Valley Police Department are working in the cold. They say the heat in the building, it's been out for weeks.